Perfect. Okay. So thank you so much, Nicola and George, for joining us tonight. I am going to hand over to you guys to talk our lovely members through your presentation on Lucillin and how we can use it with our ex-racehorses. So over to you both.
Brilliant, thank you. So we are going to hopefully share some really interesting things about this product, and you may or may not be familiar with it, but we will go into how to use it, when to use it, what it's made up of, just so you can really see where that fits into your general routine. But without further ado, George actually has an ex-racehorse, and we just thought we'd share his story because it's quite relevant to topical wound care. So we'll pop on to the next slide. Over to you, George.
Hi everyone. This is my ex-racehorse. So this is a introduction to Barossa Red, who I've had for 3 years. He ran as a flat racer, did reasonably well. He won. That was his one race. Came second rather a lot. And I've owned him for 3 years now. And we do a lot of happy hacks. We do fun rides. We've started doing some cross country. Lots and lots of lessons and fun rides, and we're just having a ball and just doing what he enjoys mostly. So I had an interesting steep learning curve. Do you want to go on to the next slide? So this was my introduction to racehorse owning. So I'd had Red probably approximately a week to 10 days. I was chuffed to bits with him. I'd gone and ridden him and in the sand school and out on the road, and he is amazing in traffic and things flapping, and he was wonderful. Anyway, so he was having a zoomy moment in his field about, as I say, about a week to 10 days after I first got him. And he took exception to something and sailed straight through the fence into the cows in the field next door. I legged it over, like herded up my horse, brought him out, and suddenly realized he was dripping blood. So vet on speed dial, I bring him in, tie him up, grab my bottle of Leucillin and pump about half a litre of Leucillin straight into that wound. Vet turns up, does a beautiful job of stitching it. And as you can see, this is the 21st of December, a couple of days before Christmas. Great timing. Thank you very much, Red. Anyway, she stitched it up beautifully, and he had some oral antibiotics, and we just kept cleaning every day with the Lucillin, making sure the dressings were clean and fresh, and really keeping up to date with just keeping it spotlessly clean. So if we move on to the next slide. So here we are on the 26th of December. We're cleaning it every day and changing the bandages. And the last picture was the 6th of January when he had the stitches out. What Lucillin has done here is kept the wound beautifully clean. It kills any infection, kills any nasties that's on the skin surface, and just puts the skin in the perfect environment for skin healing. So it healed beautifully, no complications, stitches out. And 3 years later, you would never even know that he did it. So next slide. And this was me at Boomerang on a cross-country clinic with my little Red about 2 weekends ago.
So he's made a full recovery.
Having a ball, yeah.
He's made a full recovery. And it's really interesting because you don't get any white hairs either, or proud flesh. It's a very neat recovery, even with things that are quite gnarly, which we have a few other examples in here as well. But there he is. Okay, next slide. Right, so this is what Lucillin looks like in its various names. So you've got Lucillin Antiseptic Skincare, which is the one on the left-hand side there. That is the animal product. So that is birds, reptiles and mammals, obviously including horses. Then we also have a Leucillin first response, and this is the human version of Leucillin. But however, they are both exactly the same in their formulation. So if you have one and you're happy to use it because it's exactly the same product. And then there's just a quick sneak peek, because in a week or so, we're going to start sending out our rebranded, as it's been updated, beautiful turquoise in there as well. So you will start to see that on the shelf. So look out for the new labels when you're out and about. So that's what it looks like. And it comes in several different sizes as well, which we'll go into over the slides. Okay, next slide. Right, so how it works. So what you've got here is a wound, just shown on this picture, as we saw with Red's leg as well. As soon as you break that protective layer of the skin, you have pathogens of all different varieties. You know, it could be fungus, virus, bacteria, yeast, will then be able to enter the body because there is a break in its protective barrier, which is the skin. And what happens is the body will recognize that this is happening, and it'll deploy the immune system to deal with it. And in particular, you'll have white blood cells that will travel through the blood network to the site, and it will actually deploy these to deal with the invading pathogens. And if we move on to the next slide now, we should see. So what this is, under the microscope, this is a white blood cell, and it is starting to chase after that tiny little pathogen there. And a lot of people will remember this from certainly high school biology, where it's almost like Pac-Man, and that white blood cell will chase that pathogen round until the point that it engulfs it. And what you'll see in a second is that actually happening. There we are. So it's got it. Now that white blood cell will secrete a chemical on command that will neutralize, it will kill that pathogen. And that is what exists in Leucillin. Okay, next slide. A second. So where did all this begin? So if you ever look on the back of your Leucillin bottle, you'll see the ingredients really clearly. So there's 3 things in there. There is water, there is salt, and that acts as your carrier. And then your active ingredient, and the one we're going to talk about today, is your hypochlorous acid. That's what's actually in the bottle of Leucillin. And it's that molecule, that chemical that the body secretes through its white blood cells, that is hypochlorous acid. So there's only things in it that are already in our bodies, which is nice and easy. So where did it all start? Well, it's estimated that around 450 to 500 million years ago, we had the presence of hypochlorous acid in our immune system. And the reason we've come to that conclusion is because it is the same for birds, reptiles, and mammals. And that's the point that we actually had the species split off. So it's a fair estimate that it's been around helping us at least since that time. Now, it was actually discovered twice. So 1811, 1823, by the following individuals. They were able to identify what it is and what it does. And then skip forward to around 100 years ago, so 1914, World War I, they were actually making hypochlorous acid and using it on the front line of World War I for wounds in soldiers. But they had a massive restriction, and that was that they could only manage a shelf life of 5 to 25 hours. So they could make it there and then, use it for its amazing wound healing capacity, but they then couldn't actually do anything more with that to have it more readily available for home use, hospital use, and that sort of thing. So it's taken almost 100 years for the tech to now exist, where it can be kept stabilized and it can actually be produced to have a 2-year shelf life in the case of Leucillin, and it's something you can have in the tack room or you can have at home. So we've been on the market now with our own unique formulation of hypochlorous acid since 2010. Okay, next slide. So one of the important things to remember about this, and if you've got any kind of clinical training, either medicine or veterinary, is that this is actually officially classified as a biocide, which means it's an on-skin safe antiseptic, which you can use on animals and people. It isn't a medicine. So with a biocide, it actually goes through clinical testing in labs. It doesn't go through clinical trials. Although if you are interested in reading more about that and you type in hypochlorous acid, you'll find a huge amount of studies out there in the world for all sorts of different things. So there's lots of additional reading that can be done. And for anybody interested in that route, Leucillin has a 300 part per million hypochlorous acid solution rate. So when you're making your comparison, that will give you enough information to make a fair judgment on how it might perform against something. So for everybody else, this is officially a biocide, which means anyone can buy it and anyone can use it. You don't need any form of clinical or specialist training at all. Okay, next one. So when it comes to biocides, they are issued with something called a log reduction. And this initially looks complicated, and in part it is, but there is a really simple way of understanding it. And you have log 1 through to log 7, and it's simply a case of counting the number of 9s that you see. So you'll all have seen, this toilet cleaner kills 99.9% of germs. And it seems really high and like that would leave your toilet quite clean. But in reality, that left around 1,000 pathogens in testing. And you can tell it's a log 3 because it's 99.9, there's 3 9s. Now, Leucillin is a log 7, which is a 99.99999. So it's simply a case of knowing the log reduction is the number of 9s that you count. And some biocides do not display what their log reduction is. Obviously, we are very proud of ours because it is the highest measurable amount. It meant that nothing was left in testing, and we'll be able to show you a video of what that looks like very shortly. Okay, next slide. So here we are. So this is actually a video of the testing, and this is a microscope kill test of Leucillin. So what you can see, that's fluorescing bacteria under the microscope in real time. And what you're going to see is 1 drop of Leucillin just dropped onto the dish, and that's its kill rate. So it's instant and it's thorough. So if you're using this for thrush, it will have killed anything it's contacted before you've even got the hoof back on the ground as well. Okay, next one.
Sorry, can I just clarify that all of that bacteria was dead after it was killed after 1 drop of Leucillin?
Yeah, the instant it contacted it. That's right. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, next slide. Okay, so just a few things to get acquainted with. I'm sure people haven't got this on hand, but I will just run through it now. So what you have a bottle of Leucillin here, and one of the most important things is the smell of it. So when you buy a bottle of Leucillin, it will have a 2-year shelf life on it. But that's actually from manufacture. Now, the purple bottle, it's not just the colour we like. It is actually like a UV blocker. So it doesn't like ultraviolet light. It doesn't want to be left out in the sunshine. So one of the important things is the smell of it. And when you smell it, it should nicely smell of swimming pool. So it should be very, very clear. If it's not got that smell, it's denatured. And the things that denature it are either killing germs or being left out in sunshine. It doesn't like the ultraviolet light. So if it's lost its smell, even if it says it's in date, it's not actually doing what it should be doing. So you just dispose of it down the sink because it's denatured into a harmless saline. If you want to know if your bottle that's been sat in the tack room for a few months is still good, smell it. If it smells of swimming pool, it's all good. So it's completely clean and clear. It's a purple, not purple spray. So purple bottle, but it's absolutely clear. So you can use this on white markings, coloureds, feathers, all sorts of places, and it's not going to get everywhere. It's not going to stain your hands or anything like that. It feels completely without residue on your hands. It doesn't sting. It doesn't stain. You can spray a horse with an open wound. They're not going to have any issue with that at all. So you won't get flinching. They won't be difficult to actually apply it to because it doesn't sting at all. So sound deliberately quiet. You can also go upside down with the spray if you need to, which is quite useful. And we've got 2 settings on there. So you have 1 mist spray for your wounds, but also a jet spray. So if you do need to get a wound from a distance for whatever reason, maybe it's on a back leg, you will be able to. And then finally, taste. I can't believe I'm doing this on a recorded webinar, but it's absolutely fine to use in the mouth as well. So part of dentals, you can use it for any kind of problems, bleeding in the mouth. If they ingest any because you've sprayed their body and they've had a little scratch of it, Absolutely perfectly safe. It will not do any harm at all. All it's doing is killing your bacteria in your mouth, which it'll quickly repopulate. Okay, next one.
Nick, I was just going to interject.
Yeah,
That's the same for any sort of orifice. So around the muzzle, the nose, the eyes, any sort of sensitive areas and sensitive skin, it is completely safe.
yeah. Sheaths as well, any hygiene area is you can use it. So on this side, I'm not sure what's happened to our top picture there. It's got a bit funny, but this just gives you some classic examples. And we've used dogs here. I know a lot of you will have dogs at home. So brachycephalic breed there in the middle. This is a dog that's got all the face folds. Can get very sore. It's in an area that produces a lot of moisture, and it's a breeding ground for bacteria. So this is a prime example of where you can safely use Leucillin, and you could use it on the hour, every hour for the rest of the dog's life and not do any harm with it. All it's going to do is soothe that skin. It's going to kill the germs, and it's just going to help that skin recover. And then you have it as a preventative measure as well. So likewise, you can use it for things like mud fever, rain scald, sore skin, tack rubs, things like that. If you have animals that have allergies, sweet itch, a bit of an inflammatory allergy, which is comparable, maybe not the same cause, of course, but to dogs that get hot spots, you can certainly spray that directly on the skin and use it to get everything calm and under control whilst you work on the root cause of it. It's also very good for wounds that are incredibly difficult to bandage. So this example shown here with a toe and it's been split. That's something that Leucillin will work on keeping it clean. It will soothe the area, and it's an optimum wound bed healing pH of 5.5 to 6 as well. So you get a very fast recovery on things that you're leaving to the open, to the elements. And then finally, it's suitable on horses and dogs and cats and chickens and cows and everything else that we've got there living around our actual horses as well. So don't be afraid to use it on your other animals. Okay, next one. So thrush is a classic example of both a treatment if you need it or preventatively. So this is completely safe with shod horses, barefoot, or with hoof boots. It's not going to slip. And you saw the kill rate in the previous video. So all you need to do is pick the hooves out, spray generously with Leucillin, being sure to get into all the cracks and crevices. And any of the germs that it contacts, it will kill on contact. So you've got that kill rate before you've even got the hoof back on the ground. In cases of troublesome thrush, then what you may want to do there is do 2 or 3 times a day for the first few days, get it under control, and then just build it into your routine of care. You also have the opportunity to use clays. So if you spray the hoof, let it dry, and then apply your clay. If the horse is living out, for example, you can't pick the feet out every day, then that is another option, and it'll keep it lovely and clean, and the thrush will disappear. With the clay, and a note on that, it will act as a barrier. So if you are putting clay on, Leucillin won't be able to contact the infection until the clay is fully removed. So just bear that in mind if you do it. Okay, next one. So obviously a hedgehog making it into a horse presentation here, but they do give us a really nice example of a ringworm. And then we've also got a pony here who's got a form of sweet itch. And these kind of yeasty, fungal, they present in different ways. They might be a bit oozy. They're certainly very itchy, and they can often be in tricky places. Leucillin is a brilliant way to get on top of those, keep the area clean, soothe the itch for them, and get things underway with the recovery. And the same goes for this. If you're going to apply a barrier cream on top of a patch of sweet itch, for example, get the Leucillin doing its job until you can see a clear improvement. Then pop your barrier cream over the top to help keep the flies out and everything else. So you'll have to look at it and just assess how it's doing as well. Okay, next one. Right, so this is a lovely lady has sent this to us of Izzy, her thoroughbred. And this is just to give you an idea of progress of wounds. So again, quite a tricky area to dress if you're going to. They haven't in this case. The vet obviously is attended. and the mare had oral antibiotics as well, but they just used Leucillin topically on this. So that's just to give you an idea of the speed in which this can help you, and that you can actually use it for wound care as well. So that is a week apart. That's 7 days from when they found it, and they've been using Leucillin throughout the day. It's obviously been on the oral antibiotics as well and under veterinary treatment, but that's how it's looking 7 days later. So don't be afraid to involve it if you end up with an injury like this as well. It will do great things for you. Okay, next one. So just one more. Promise this is the last of the gory ones. This was a cob that went into a mixed practice up in Cumbria, Frame and Swift. The head vet nurse, Julie, sent this to us just because she was fascinated. This was pretty gnarly. The horse had joint fluid within this wound as well, so it's very serious. You can see it on the first day there when it came in. There's lots of fresh blood, and this was 5 days later, and the vet practice were actually using Leucillin just directly onto this wound. So it is a fast worker. Those 3 things that it does, so killing the germs to the log 7, soothing the skin because the body recognizes that presence of hypochlorous acid there, so it draws back on all the itchiness, inflammation, redness, soreness. And then finally, it's that optimum wound bed healing pH of 5.5 to 6. So those 3 things really help speed things along. So it's just to give you an example of some of the more, serious stuff that's out there as well. And that certainly you can use this as an emergency flush. So if you are presented with a horror story in the field one day, you can absolutely flush with Leucillin and get the vet out and know that you've not done anything harmful. In fact, you've assisted with the situation. Okay, next one. So we've got an ease of use. So here's Red again. He's main character in this. Obviously had fun on a fun ride there, looking tired. So what we've got here is one easy to use product. It's ready to go. If you keep it cool and dark in your tack box, your tack room, your bag when you're out riding, lorry, any of these things, you can reach for it if you need to flush. Now, if a wound contains a lot of debris or detritus, rinse it with a hose, obviously, to clean that out, then spray with Leucillin to kill the germs. But if you are in a position where you do not have that, you can absolutely spray it out with the Leucillin. It's going to keep it clean and allow you either to get home and assess what you're going to do next or get directly to the vet. There's no dilution, there's no mixing, you haven't got any worries of leaving it on contact for a certain amount of time. So that's nice and simple. All you've got to do is use plenty, wet the skin, really flush it out. It has to come into contact with the germs you want to kill. There's no cosh, so if anyone's on a professional yard, you don't have any additional paperwork that you have to do for this. Just keep it cool and dark. There's absolutely no PPE needed at all. It is completely mammal, bird and reptile safe. It's also safe for invertebrates as well, so we're not harming bees and insect life. You don't need, it's safe for frequent use, so you can use this every day for thrush-prone horses. You can use it for animals that are in competition. It's FEI approved, it's Jockey Club approved, so you're not going to have any problems if you're competing at high level either. It does not contain anything that's not already present in the body. Okay, next one. So sometimes we get nervous animals that are not particularly keen on things, especially when you bear in mind that you can actually use Leucillin directly into eyes as well. So we have a number of bottles that are designed for that. So we have a dropper bottle, which is a little 50ml one. You can see on the slide there as an example of it. This is exactly the same solution. It's just got a dropper on the end, which means you can put that directly into eyes, ears, wherever you need to use it. And also if you've got animals that are really funny about sprays, you can spray cotton pads as well. So obviously you can saturate cotton ball and then use that to bathe the wound. The key is just get plenty of Leucillin actually into contact with the place that you want to kill the germs. And then of course you've got your jet spray as well. So if it really comes down to it, you've got a distance and it will spray about 6 foot. So, and does so with vigor as well. So you can spray that directly on if you need to. Just to get close or get wound flush on an animal that you can't necessarily handle very well. Okay, next one. So we're 100% biodegradable. So you've got your water and salt, and that's your carrier, and then you've got your hypochlorous acid. The hypochlorous acid will naturally break down under UV, or if it's sprayed onto germs and killed them, it breaks down in that process as well. Also, excessive heat will break it down, but generally speaking, as long as it's not a 35-degree hot day and you leave it outside, it'll be fine in a cupboard somewhere. It breaks down, so that means you've got natural chemistry. It's something that's not going to impact on the planet. It can go straight down the sink once it has denatured, and it's also just going to sit on your animal as a saline once you've used it. There's absolutely no chemicals, alcohols, antibiotics or steroids in Leucillin at all. It's completely cruelty-free. It's vegan-friendly. It's got recyclable packaging, or all of it. So the whole thing is plastic, and it's made. George, what's it made out of?
It's actually our REP plastic, which means it's already made from 30% recycled materials. And yeah, the applicator spray as well is completely recyclable because that has no metal component parts in it. So it can go straight into your recycling bin.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's made in the UK as well. So this is bottled, made in the UK, bottled down in Dorset. And now, 16 years later, we're out to 30 odd countries. So the reach is spreading. The uses are multiple. And slowly but surely, everybody's realising that Leucillin can be really beneficial as well. Okay, next one. So you'll see it in a few different formats. So you've got your three, if you look on the left here on this picture, you've got your three sizes of spray bottles. So these are 150ml, 250ml, 500ml. To give you an idea of the retail cost of the big bottle, which is usually the one that people use, that is £16.50. So that's what you should be paying. You might find it slightly cheaper on places like Viavet. You might find a deal on Amazon, but that's what you're looking for. So £16.50 or less. You find it in many retailers, Pets at Home, Jolly's Just for Pets all sell it, loads of online and loads of independent dog groomers, pet shops as well. The dropper bottle obviously retails around £5.50, just to give you an idea for that. And then we've got our emergency flush sort of travel size, which is the one on the right hand side. This is 60ml. That's what it looks like there. And what most horse owners do is they have a big bottle, and then they have the little bottle, and then they just top up. Now, Leucillin won't be stable if you decant it into your own bottle, but you can certainly swap it in between your own personal bottles and it will be kept safe as the solution. So keep the big bottle at home in the tack room, and then ride out with this, take this to a show, and you've always got an emergency flush on hand if you need it. We do also have a first aid kit, which has a mini Leucillin in it, very nice clips to anything, and it's designed as a get you home kit, primarily with the videos. Certainly it will aid if you do want to ride out with it, especially if you're taking your dogs with you as well. Okay, next one. So just to summarise with this, these are the different sizes. It's completely safe with all mammals, birds and reptiles, and includes people. It's suitable for all topical applications, so eyes, ears, muzzles, mouths, sheaths, hygiene areas, bottoms, absolutely anything. You are completely safe with it. And then the most important thing with Leucillin is spray it until it's wet. That skin needs to be wet. You can't just mist it over. It'll only kill what it can contact. So really saturate a wound or a sore piece of skin, and that's going to give you the best results. And the more often you can repeat it, the quicker it'll work. If you can only do it once a day, because that's how often you go down the yard, it will still work. You'll be fine. Okay, next one. I think that's our last one. So if anyone has got any questions, please put them in the chat and we will help.
I have a question.
Okay.
So obviously in our first aid kits, both human and equine, we get given, or there's always a saline solution that you're told to flush wounds out with. Could we do it with Leucillin instead of the saline solution?
Yes. So Leucillin obviously its carrier is a weak saline solution, but because it's got that hypochlorous acid in it, it's got that formidable germ kill. So saline works, absolutely. Brilliant. It's going to help. But Leucillin does it with bells on. because it's got that hypochlorous acid in it. So you're just doing a much more thorough job. You're helping the body because you're removing that pathogen load from a wound. You're giving it less to do, and it's quite grateful for that.
Mm. Interesting. Okay. So that makes me think that actually for all of we're just putting together equine first aid kits for all our RDOs when they're out at camps and things. So
Yeah,
we're definitely going to make sure that there's a bottle of Lucillin in there as well. Well, Lizzie's just said, I've used this for years but never thought to use it on hooves. Thank you. So that's actually something that I was thinking of when when you were talking about treating thrush. Um, Obviously it's really easy in the winter for them to get infections through their central sulcus and up through the heels, all around there. And you can treat all of that with Lucillin, can you?
absolutely. So wherever it can contact, it will kill the infection. You need to go and seek extras or professional advice if that's got really bad, or you've brought something onto the yard that you're looking and you're thinking, crikey, no one's dealt with this hoof care for a while. Because if that infection starts to get into the hoof, into a place that Lucillin can't reach, that is requiring other additional therapeutics to go with it. So Lucillin will do a great job as long as it can contact the germs. So just bear that in mind. You absolutely can use it. So if you have an abscess blow, for example, flush out the hole that's happened, that is fine. That will work too. And yes, you can use it in a poultice if you need to do any drawing. But yeah, always keep it in mind that it will work with what it can contact. But if you've got something that's clearly gone into the body, or you're dealing with a really gnarly wound, then you may want to involve, a veterinary professional.
Yeah, absolutely. How about sheath cleaning?
Teeth clean, yeah. So again, if you want to spray that up into the sheath, absolutely fine. It is completely safe. But the same thing goes. It can only do as much as you can get it into contact, because it's a tricky area to get it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, you can flush with it. If they happen, can't believe we're talking about this, if they happen to flop it out and it's
Yeah.
really disgusting,
Give it a
like,
good
yeah,
spray.
yeah, give it a spray. Oh, the places this takes us.
Yeah. Well,
um,
I was literally just thinking we had a horse on the yard that we had a sheath cleaner lady out to, and he actually got an infection because following that, he was fine
okay,
before and it was a bit
yeah.
dirty, but then she came out and she gave it a good scrub, and then he then he got an
And then it,
infection
oh,
afterwards.
crikey. But
Oh,
yes, absolutely. So wherever you can spray it, it will kill the germs. So just always keep that in your mind,
now
and then
those poor
use
horses are
it
going to have
accordingly.
their things
Yeah.
sprayed.
Or as Nick said earlier, like cotton wool is your best friend. If you've got a great big wad of cotton wool and you really saturate that, that is a
Yeah.
great way of applying.
Okay, fine.
I think they're still going to object, but yeah.
Poor things.
Oh.
Lizzie's also just said, would it be good for preventative as well? For example, if there's been a stone removed from a hoof.
Yes, absolutely. So if you've got any damage and you're like, I want to keep that clean so I don't end up with a problem, yes, you can use Lucillin. Now, here's the thing with it. Once it's done its job, your wound or your broken skin or the crack in the hoof is then open to the elements again. So you could have infection set in. So what you might want to do is spray it and then poultice it and wrap it, or you might want to spray it to get it really, really clean and then put some sort of hoof putty in there just to block it.
And what if you sprayed it, if you had not necessarily a on the hoof, if there was an area that you could dress, if you spray it and then you spray the dressing as well, is that worth? And then you
Yeah,
put
it,
on.
it will. But I guess the benefit here is because it's not as open to the elements, you're going to
Yeah.
get longer between reapplying it. And, I didn't share them on here. We've got some really shocking wounds that we've had sent to us through the veterinary industry who use it, where they do dress them because you've got bits of bone sticking out and
Yeah, yeah.
tendons and all sorts of things. So they can spray that. The horse won't react because it doesn't sting, but they absolutely dress it. And then they just change that dressing twice a day and spray it.
I remember being really told off by a vet once upon a time when my one of my dogs cut himself. And
Mm.
and I think it was, I don't even know how many years ago, but my partner, who was a farmer through and through, just went, oh, I'll just put some, Bradley cut himself, so I put some blue spray on him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I took him to the vet, and the vet went, don't do that. For goodness sake, don't do it on an open wound. But
So okay, so regarding your vet, you may have vets that have encountered this that will be like, yeah, okay, Leucillin, cool, thank you very much. You'll have vets that we've managed to interact with, because we go to all the veterinary shows just to spread as an educational tool, really, because the owners are using it. Maybe they've spoken to us at an event or they've had some training. They'll be like, I know exactly why you've used this. Good job, well done.
yeah.
And then there are some vets out there who've yet to interact with it, and some of the comments can be interesting. So we are always open if Monday to Friday in the office, if your vet goes, oh, never heard of it, or anything else, just get them to give us a call and we will quite happily assist with that.
Fantastic. Thank you. Have we got any more questions that anyone wants to ask? If not, then I just want to thank you guys hugely for that presentation. I have to say I didn't realize. Look, we've got it on our yard. That is full disclosure. We do use Lucillin on our yard anyway, but I didn't realize how it worked or how effective it actually is. I mean that until you sent me that video, I was thinking that can't be right.
Yeah, it's
With a
right.
drop of Lucillin going into the bacteria. That's amazing.
And
Um, so yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
oh, you're very welcome. And if anyone's heading to badminton this week, I'll be on the Arc Equine stand with Lucillin tomorrow for Grassroots Day. And then we've got our colleague Chloe, who'll be there on the weekend as well. So if you do want to come down and ask any specific questions, please do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's absolutely brilliant. Right. So if unless anyone else has any questions, we will call it a day on that. That's brilliant. We've got one more. Oh, so Rachel's just said, hi, can I missed the start of the webinar, can I download it? So again, everybody who registered will be sent it tomorrow morning. As soon as I get to my computer, I'll send it all out to everybody because we had loads of people register. So don't worry, you will be able to watch it tomorrow from the start. Cool. Okay. Thank you so much. I will stop recording now.